the Alpha Sessions Live with Emma Joyce.
So we're here for our sessions, and I'm here with Rose Ford. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. Can we start with how you got into music in the first place?
My mum's a singer and plays instruments, so I've kind of been involved with music for my whole life. I remember going to like singing sessions with my mum, and I was really lucky actually to go. I went to really musical schools the whole way through, so there wasn't really a definitive like musical moment that it all happened. I think it just was something that like was always present, but felt like it got more and more important in quite a gradual way.
So at what point did you think, okay, this is where it's really, really important to me?
I think probably when I was doing A-levels was when I really got into music, kind of, I guess, on my own terms. Like it was something that had always been almost like inevitable in my life before that. When I was doing A-levels, I like started composing music for instruments, and I wrote my first few songs when I was probably in like year 12. I think that was the point where I like started to feel like I was developing like my own quite specific relationship with it, as opposed to it just being something that I enjoyed.
Because you play piano and guitar as well. Well, guitar.
I play guitar and clarinet actually.
Oh, okay. Because I saw on your Instagram that you also hopped on the piano.
Oh, where was that?
I'm trying to think.
That might have been. I play a lot of music with my friend Lila, who's a pianist.
Okay.
And I can't think exactly what that would have been, but it's likely, and she looks vaguely similar to me, I guess. But there's definitely some pictures of her on my Instagram of her playing the piano on the album. That would have been her. I can play a tiny bit of piano, but like not well enough to play on an album or anything.
So what came first, the guitar or the clarinet?
The clarinet. I started playing clarinet when I was 10. And I started playing guitar. I started teaching myself guitar when I was about, I think, 14 or something. And I just started learning like Adele covers and Laura Marling things. Yeah.
So you're currently working on an album?
Yeah, so I released my first EP 2 years ago, and then since then I've been really, really slowly writing an album, and I've actually in lockdown have managed to get like a lot of recording done, which has probably been like one of the biggest perks for me of lockdown. 100%.
How's that been going for you?
It's been really nice actually. It's been really nice to like have the time to record, and I guess just like the headspace as well. There's something about like living in London and like having a job and having all of the things that happen. Like I find it quite difficult to like find the headspace to want to record music.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely been like a really, really big part for me of lockdown, is just like really slowly just like clearing my brain of all the things that stop you from feeling able to be creative. And that's been, I'm hoping it'll be out at the end of the summer.
Have you been able to record everything like in the confinements of your home? I guess you obviously have to have done.
Yeah, so I've been quite lucky. So I've been recording the whole album myself anyway, so that's been a lucky part of it, that I was already recording at home and I had that all set up. And I've been recording like myself, so like the vocals and the clarinet and the guitar all at home. And then I've been sending files off to like various friends of mine to add like DIY percussion to and backing vocals and stuff like that. So that's actually been working quite well. It's been quite like exciting sending demos off to people to add to. So yeah, it's weirdly been quite smooth. I think it definitely helped though that I was like already recording at home. I think it would have been really difficult if I had been working in a studio, for instance, and then suddenly had no access to that.
So have you had to do anything like major to change that process because you've been in lockdown? Or?
I guess, so before I've always done the vocals and the vocals and the guitar on my songs at home, because I just find that the takes that I get are so much better if I'm like in my own space and like on my own time frame, because I don't know, I find it quite difficult recording with other people when I'm doing that kind of stuff, because I'm quite perfectionisty, and it's like helpful. I find it more helpful if I almost don't have to think about it and I can just do it without any extra opinions. So that's actually been exactly the same in that I've been doing that. And before this I was using like the Goldsmiths recording studios and the Roundhouse recording studios to record percussion and piano and like bigger instruments that I obviously don't have in my bedroom. So I guess the difference is that it's just really difficult now to like, with percussion, I've been sending it to a friend of mine who's hopefully going to be adding some stuff from her house. And then with piano, I'm looking for a pianist with microphones and a piano in their house. So that's my hunt at the moment.
So if anyone's watching this that has a piano and microphones in their house, then get in touch with Rose. We'll let you know her social handles at the end. So you said it's going to be released at the end of the summer?
I hope so.
Okay. Fingers crossed. And are we allowed to know what it's called, or is that kind of like in the making?
I think I might change it, but I think I'm going to call it The Honey Eaters.
Nice.
That's one of the songs on the album.
Okay.
And I'm sort of 95% sure that's what she's going to be called, but who knows what will happen by September.
Found you in the dust, biting corners off half-baked words, and I thought I mustn't trust myself to speak. About the dusk, writing letters and floating them down, never knowing if you could read, never knowing if seas had eyes like yours. I found you in a prison cell once, and your heart was falling out, and your love was spilling all over the concrete bricks in the wall. And I thought you were a child once, sailing into distant waters somewhere. For child, the wild seas call. Child, the wild seas call. And we ate our silence like honey. And why am I so heavy-hearted still? And outside the people dancing magic. Outside the people dancing magic. writing letters to wild-eyed seas. And never did I trust myself to speak.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
So would you say like it's running on schedule, or?
I don't know. I'm not very good at having schedules, I don't think. I think so. I think it is. I don't know. I find it really difficult. Also, because I've never recorded an album before. And I remember just a songwriter friend of mine, when she started recording her album, trying to visualize it as just sticking 2 EPs together.
Yeah.
And then realizing after a few weeks how monumentally much bigger, even though it's actually not bigger, but how much bigger an album feels. Because there's something about, like, I'm finding it really difficult to even zoom out beyond one song, because I'll like finish one song and then just be really like, feel really reticent to move on to the next one, because it feels like such a massive like change of gear and like change of mode. And I think it's probably also one of those things that once you have recorded a few albums, it's probably much easier to then gauge kind of how far into the process you are. And at the moment, I'm just finding it really impossible. It's like I've got some songs that I'm really happy with, but then if in 2 months I was like, actually, I need to re-record this whole thing, I'm finding it really impossible to tell. Yeah,
but there must be a point where, as a perfectionist, this must be quite hard, but you just stop tinkering.
Well, this is the thing actually with mine, is I keep getting to points with songs where, in terms of my chunk of it, so like the songwriting and the guitar and vocal and clarinet performance, I'm like, this is totally finished. But then you still, because you still need to like get other people to add instruments, and then you still need to like decide who's going to mix it, and then you need to get someone to master it. And because those things, I think if I was releasing it unmastered and it was just going to be me doing all of the playing, it'd be much easier to gauge how long it would take. But it's that whole other side of it where you're like, oh, I really want drums on this song, or like I really want piano on this, and then it's like this whole logistical nightmare, especially in lockdown. It's like this whole thing of like, how am I going to physically make that happen? So I think I'm probably at a point where like probably by the end of July I will have the whole album in terms of my musical chunk of it, but then there'll be this whole other step of like making that sound like an album and not just like me sitting in my bedroom having a jam.
So, what you mean?
Yeah.
But I reckon that sound is also quite cool, and you can like embrace the raw vibes of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true.
To a certain extent. So what's your lockdown setup been like? Are you there on your own?
No, so we've actually come to a family friend's house in the Black Mountains, and I've like lived in London since I was 1.5. So it's been, I've never been out of London, except for like I guess when I was traveling, but I've never been out of London for this long before, which has actually been really amazing to like see if I can handle that almost, because I think as a Londoner I've always had this dream of like one day I'll move to the countryside and it'll be all lovely, but then you always in the back of your head think like, could I handle it? Because you get so used, I don't know, I guess because I can't drive as well, I think once you're used to the independence of living in London and like the anonymity and all of the stuff that comes with living in a big city, I don't know, it's been quite nice, almost like proving to myself I can handle being in the countryside for a long amount of time, because I probably haven't been in the countryside for more than 2 weeks, maybe in my whole life, just because when have you ever got the time to?
No, exactly.
I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been really nice actually. Really good.
And have you been listening to any tunes whilst you've been in lockdown? And if so, what?
So I've had a bit of a breakthrough with this really recently. In London, I exclusively listen to music on the bus, which is completely ridiculous. But like I sit on the bus.
So what happens when you're not on the bus?
You like really long. I just don't listen to music.
What?
So I don't know. Like I've got quite a few like really long bus journeys, like in my day-to-day, in my weekly life in London. So it's like, that's where I really like, it's not that I don't listen to it, but that's where I really like sit and I like really listen to it. And like, I don't know, I guess that's also like the reason that I've that I want to discover new music as well, because it's like, oh, it's what I'm going to listen to, I don't know, I guess. Yeah, anyways. And that was a real problem for me. When I first got here, I was like, I'm not taking any buses, so I can't listen to music, because I get really impatient. If like, it's really rare for me to be able to sit down and like listen to a whole album just sat somewhere. And I've genuinely I've had so many, I've like thought I should start knitting just so I could start listening to music again, because I just need something to do.
Yes.
And I think because when you're in the bus, you can see the world, like you feel like you're being productive enough to just really sit and listen. But actually in the last week, I've got the person who's living kind of, I guess, our neighbours, came outside with his speaker and just put on an absolutely amazing playlist the other day. And I totally had that moment of like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Aww. And it was just every single thing, and it was brilliant. But my biggest discovery was the Portico Quartet. I actually know nothing about them yet. I've listened to them non-stop for like the last few days, but I haven't looked them up yet at all.
What are they called again?
The Portico Quartet.
Portico Quartet. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write this down.
And they're like, I might be wrong, but I think it's steel pans, double bass, like drum kit, and I'm gonna say soprano sax.
That's cool.
I had an argument with my brother.
So quite jazzy.
Soprano sax or clarinet. Yeah, quite jazzy, quite like almost like prog vibes, because it's quite like really they do like really long tracks that really like shift, and they're all quite like a journey. Anyways, that's been my big discovery of the week.
I think that's really cool. I don't understand how you only listen to music on the bus, but I'm really glad that you've made that revelation to listen to music in the house.
Under the hill, we told your mother all of the things we did not tumble down. Oh, the mountainside. Inside our truths, we found another girl just like you, but from another womb. How we laughed through the trees for gusts like leaves.
The Alpha Sessions with Emma Joyce.
Do you think after lockdown you're going to take that learning curve with you and go back to listening at home, or are you going to go back to only listening on the bus?
I guess it depends on when I start doing bus journeys again. And who can predict that? When am I don't know. I've got no idea. I don't know when I'm going to go back to work. I've got absolutely no idea. So if I go back to work quite quickly, I guess I won't need to have the learning curve. Or if I don't go back to work, I'll need to start knitting or just doing something like small and productive.
Yeah.
Or painting or something.
Yeah, maybe. So when you're normally on the bus, what kind of music are you into?
I think I really like it. It's really divided between like songwriters that I listen to. Like I absolutely love Nick Drake and Laura Marling, and This Is the Kit are brilliant, and Rosie Plain. This Is the Kit is she's a singer-songwriter, but she's really good friends with two other singer-songwriters called Rosie Plain and Rachel Dadd, and the three of them like started singing together, I think, in Winchester, and have all now got separate musical acts, but it seems that they all play on each other's music and have the like crossover band members and stuff, and I like love all of their music.
That's cool. Kind of like a supergroup.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I also listen to like I really like Debussy, and I always go totally blank when I try and think about music that I like. It's such an awful cliche thing to say, but I totally do. Yeah, they'll come back to me. But yeah, songwriter-wise, they're definitely my top 5, I'd say.
Oh, that's cool. So, in terms of your actual songs and where you get the inspiration from, are they usually based on like personal experiences or?
Yeah, I'd say completely almost. I think there's like I started writing songs because I started I started exclusively setting T.S. Eliot poems to music, and I did about 3. And then my third one, because I felt really like weirdly vulnerable, and like it felt really exposing to write lyrics, because I don't know, it just felt like really like too much. So that was my like way in to writing songs without having to write lyrics. And then my third poem that I set, I ended up almost accidentally just like writing another verse to it. And then I started writing my own songs after that. And I think I've always blurred like personal experience, but then I think I kind of channel that into like fiction. And I don't know, I think there's a real like hybrid between like fiction and fantasy and personal experience. And I guess it's almost like trying to actualize the imagination, I guess, in that because I feel like emotions always feel so much bigger and more vivid than the reality of whatever's happened. So I think it's just that bridge between like the core of it is like a very real personal experience, but like I think I quite like to take things out in terms of like my imagery. Building on it. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think so. Yeah. You kind of, the core is your emotional experience, and then you build on it with drama and fantasy and fiction.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's totally it in a nutshell. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, no, I think
that's really cool.
Probably accurate.
Yeah, nice. Do you also do covers?
I do, yeah. I don't. Yeah, I do. I think I've only had a few. There's been like about 4 covers that I've like learnt. I've got a real habit of learning covers and then instantly forgetting them. And there's just been like the odd few that have stayed with me. I think the first song I ever learnt was Crazy for You, which is an Adele song, which I just sang everywhere. And then the next one that stuck was Narrow Road by Laura Marling, which is just another great song. And these were both like really brilliant, like very simple songs for like,
you did the Narrow
for a beginning
guitarist.
Didn't you? I did, yes. For instance, if someone gave me a guitar, got absolutely no idea what tuning it's in, it would take me, I'd have to relearn it completely and that's quite annoying because it's a really beautiful song and it'd be so lovely to be able to just like knock that out at a gig. Yeah. But I would have to learn it as much as any other song that I'd never played. I get Scarborough Fair, actually, I've learnt recently, and just I think that's like such a delight to play on guitar. There's a Joanna Newsom song that I think I'm going to put on the album as a cover.
Amazing.
So that's, yeah, that'll probably be the only cover. If it does end up on the album, it will definitely be the only cover that's on it. But I think it's such a beautiful song that it's worth it.
What is it that makes a good cover to you?
I think I really enjoy songs. I think it really depends, doesn't it, actually? Because, for instance, with the Joanna Newsom one, I really love it because with that one, I really connect to the lyrics. I just think they're brilliant. Whereas Scarborough Fair, I love because the guitar part is just completely wonderful and just like really fun to play. So I think it's maybe like, for me, it feels like it's a different thing for me. For every song, it's either like that I really love the guitar or I really, really connect with the words. Yeah.
That's cool. And in terms of like, obviously, there's the actual artifact that as a listener and someone who's not a musician like me gets audio-wise in their hand. But there's also like that whole process behind the scenes with regards to creating music and touring with it and promoting it that as the consumer, like, we just don't know about. What would you say you miss the most from being in lockdown?
I think it's funny, actually, because I think it's 100% true that like being a musician, there's like so much more that to it than just making music. If you're going to make it make money and you're going to make it like work as a job, obviously like promotion and all of that stuff is a really big thing. I'm so horrendously reticent to like any self-promoting, and I don't know, not that I don't do it, but I find that side of it really difficult. So I think I like to live in this bubble of like pretending that you can just make music.
If you could collaborate with someone, anyone in the world, dead or alive, who would it be?
Meredith Monk, I think. Who is, have you heard of her? She's like totally insane.
I've heard of her, but I don't know what she sounds like.
So she's like, I don't even know how to summarise her. This is going to be awful, but she's like an experimental, I guess, avant-garde vocalist and dancer. And I like used to like her music's quite intense to listen to. Like it's not necessarily like, it's definitely not band music. And I used to in my halls in the kitchen in first year just to like totally like grate everyone, and it ended up anyways, it was just like I don't know, there's something, I just find something about her music just really magical. She's got an album called The Book of Days, which just, it's almost like, it's kind of like ritualistic music, but that doesn't belong to any specific or defined culture. So I don't know, I think someone described it as like rituals from another planet. That's definitely a misquote. Wow. But it's like, it's just got this kind of like really obscure, bizarre otherness about it, but like at once it feels really, I don't know, it feels really familiar and really like safe and really like reminiscent almost of something that you feel like inherently that you've experienced. But also it's just totally bizarre and like unknown. I don't know, I think she'd be like just really, really interesting to like create anything with. Like I'd like make a curry with her, like just doing anything with her would just be like such a laugh, I think, and just like really strange. Yeah, I think I'd have to choose her.
Okay, well, if people want to find out more about you, where can they go, what can they do?
So I'm on Facebook, I'm at Roseford Music, and I've got some music on Bandcamp, also at Roseford Music, and also on Spotify.
Amazing, and thank you so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And I'm hoping that one day we can get you into the Big Blue or Small Blue Alpha Session studio.
Yeah, it'd be really nice.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
The so